Welcome to Raisina Uphill on TIOL Tube. In this show, we bring you policy changes and developments from the vivid world of the Indian bureaucracy.
Today, we take you through the power struggles, the brewing discontent among revenue officers, besides implications of new appointments and extensions granted.
The government means business. Government employees like private sector staff will now need to show results to earn their increments. The government accepted the recommendations of the 7th Pay Commission and issued a notification last week for hiking employees' pay and pension from August 2016. It also linked annual increments and promotions to employees' performance. Bureaucrats have reacted strongly. They are opposed to this move. How will it impact government employees? Have they taken the good news of the pay hike with a pinch of salt? Let's find out.
What I'm saying is that objective is very good, objective is desirable, but the procedure through which that will be implemented is quite fraught.
The government has enhanced the benchmark for performance appraisal from good to very good. This means only when performance has been appraised as very good, an employee shall become eligible for annual increment or promotion. This benchmark shall apply to performance appraisal for regular promotions as well as MACP or Modified Assured Career Progression as administered at 10, 20 and 30 years. Not clearing the efficiency bar shall enable the government to withhold annual increments for non-performers after 20 years. Non-performers can no longer take grant for MACP for granted. The government may also consider introduction of more stringent criteria such as clearing of departmental exams or mandatory training before the grant of MACP. The Commission had also recommended that non-performers should have the option of voluntary retirement.
Two issues. One issue is that withholding annual increment is considered as a penalty. And for imposing a penalty under that CCA rules, that is Central Civil Services Control and Administration rules, you have to follow a particular procedure, which is fairly tortuous.
While linking promotions to performance looks good on paper, there's work to be done. Is the long wait between promotions making the pool of bureaucracy stagnant? Is there a need for an attitudinal shift amongst the bureaucrats? And most important, are performance criteria transparent or open to subjective assessment?
This was breeding resentment among other sections of workers and employees, whether they're in unorganized sector or in other sectors.
If the government means business, is it willing to make its salary structure at the higher levels more realistic? Meanwhile, the implementation of these recommendations is going to cost the government more than rupees 1 lakh crore on account of payments of pay and pension, including arrears.
Does the Revenue Secretary have the right to meddle in the daily operations of the Income Tax Office? IRS officers in Mumbai certainly do not think so. In a dramatic development on Friday, July 22nd, the Mumbai unit of the Indian Revenue Service Association passed a resolution questioning the growing interference of the Revenue Secretary's office in day-to-day operational activities of the Income Tax Department. The resolution has reached the Finance Minister. Higher-ups want you to think this development as merely a reflection of the long-accepted rivalry between the IRS and the IAS. The office of the Revenue Secretary is a post necessarily held by a senior IAS officer. Nobody is talking of the serious simmering brewing discontent against the aggressive curtailment of role and authority of the Central Board of Direct Taxes and extraordinary delays in filling up hordes of senior level posts lying vacant. Let's take a look at the number of posts lying vacant as of July 31st, 2016. TIOL Tube spoke to a large number of IRS officers and bureaucrats in North Block. We found that field officers are extremely dissatisfied. The benefits of the cadre restructuring approved by the Union Cabinet in mid-2013 have not filtered down to a large number of officers who perceive a conspiracy by the Department of Revenue headquarters in this exorbitant delay. What causes serious heartburn to these field officers is that as many as 150 officers of different ranks have been retiring every month without getting their overdue promotion. which means lesser retirement benefits. Secondly, large vacancies at senior levels only mean large number of additional charges, as many as 4 in some cases. Revenue targets have also added salt to their wounds. The aggressive monitoring of revenue target realization by the Revenue Secretary and not the CBDT meant direct and one-to-one interaction between the Revenue Secretary and the principal CITs, bypassing several supervisory levels in the department. The IRS Association has clearly stated this as a grievance in its memorandum to the Union Finance Minister.
Problem has cropped up since last February, March, when the direct tax collections were falling way behind the budgeted target figures. And there was constant pressure from the Department of Revenue on the CBDT to achieve these targets. Towards the end of March, the Revenue Secretary had written a very, terse dear letter to the chairman, blaming him for non-achievement of the targets.
But what was the trigger point? TIOL Tube learned that for chasing the steep revised budget estimates for direct taxes, there was a clear-cut conflict in the instructions issued by the Revenue Secretary and the CBDT on the other hand. The Finance Minister's office has issued an official warning to the IRS Association that such acts of IRS officers shall be treated as insubordination and disciplinary action would be taken. Naturally, IRS officers across the country are frustrated. They are convinced that there is a communication gap between them and the political leadership. To bridge this gap, 4 office bearers of the IRS Association Mumbai met the Finance Minister Arun Jaitley last Saturday and submitted their long list of grievances. The minister has promised to address these grievances. Let's hope the Finance Minister quickly puts an end to this unpleasant development because it may impact even the IRS officers of Customs and Central Excise who are also facing an equally ugly quagmire of cadre mismanagement.
Even while the Railway Board Chairman's retirement function was being planned, he received a 2-year appointment bonanza, which will make A.K. Mittal the longest serving chairman in the history of the largest transport department in the world. His reappointment commences from August 1, 2016. But what is this 2-year mystery? As per the information gathered by TIOL Tube, in a surprise move on the advice of Railway Minister Suresh Prabhu, the Cabinet Committee on Appointments has given its consent to convert the post of Railway Board Chairman into a tenure post in the line of some of the posts like the Cabinet Secretary, Defence Secretary and the Home Secretary, who also enjoys a fixed and secure tenure of 2 years irrespective of their months of retirement. Interpreting Mr. Mittal's reappointment, several senior officials in the Railway Board said that the multiple feeder cadres in the railway bureaucracy are in for a mega restructuring. Meanwhile, the reappointment of Mr. Mittal has come as a shocker for the senior-most members of the board who were looking forward to the top job and were not too sure of the cadre restructuring in the pipeline.
So either you should have a system-based promotion which is very rigid as far as rules are concerned, or have an American system, purely discretionary. Don't have the facade of following the rules at the same time saying, showing the person will follow the rule. I am not happy in principle. I'm not attacking this. We all know the probity of the minister, Mr. Prabhu in this case. I'm not talking at all about this particular instance, but the system is much larger than individual.
It is learned that Mr. Prabhu is almost ready with a cabinet note and Mr. Mittal is going to be tasked for the responsibility of smooth implementation of the proposed cadre revamping in the railways.
Central government employees will soon receive the bonanza promised by the 7th Pay Commission. The Finance Ministry has issued instructions for the fixation of pay and payment of arrears under the revised pay structure. All arrears shall be paid in cash in 2 installments. The revised salary will come with the salary for the month of August and the allowances will come later. As these arrears shall be paid without pre-check of the fixation of pay under the revised scales, employees have been warned that in case arrears have been computed incorrectly, Any overpayments may be recovered subsequently. Of course, income tax as due on the arrears shall be deducted at source. Allowances, interest-free advances, and contributions to the central government employees group insurance scheme shall continue to be applicable under the existing rates until further orders.
Do bureaucrats enjoy free expression? Apparently not, considering the changes proposed in the All India Services Conduct Rules. The new rules propose that bureaucrats may freely contribute or publish articles and views on social media websites and television, but cannot criticize the government for its current or recent policies and actions, whether in their name or under someone else's name or even anonymously. The criticism extends to all communication media, even caricatures. The DOPT has specifically proposed an update to the rules to include all new media.
To get the corporate exit policy on the road, the government is looking to hire a chairperson and 3 full-time members for the newly set up Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board. The board, set up under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, will help to make the debt recovery process more effective and efficient. The chairperson and members shall have a tenure of 5 years or until they attain 65 years of age, whichever is earlier.
Bureaucrats are majorly happy that Parliament has amended the Lokpal and Lokayuktas Act 2013. Why? This was the act that required all public servants, including bureaucrats, political functionaries, and even NGOs to declare their assets, including those of their spouse and children, and make this information public. Obviously, bureaucrats have been most reluctant to do so and have been backed by the government too. Consider this. Public servants were required to file returns of their assets and liabilities by September 15, 2014. This date was extended 5 times until July 31, 2016. There were no extensions thereafter. So they amended the act and the government notified the public servants furnishing of information and annual return of assets and liabilities and the limits for exemption of assets in filing returns rules 2014. Now there is no due date prescribed for filing this declaration, which means our babus and politicians are now free for another couple of years.
The Delhi High Court has come to the aid of a bureaucrat's long battle for justice. Even though Yuvraj Gupta from the 1972 batch of Customs and Excise Department has already retired. Let's go back in time. A departmental inquiry was initiated against Gupta in 2003 while he was Commissioner Customs and Excise at Mumbai International Airport. He was accused of misconduct for having manipulated a foreign visit to USA and UK to accompany the Mumbai Veteran Hockey Association team, even though he had no association with the game of hockey and was never a member of the MVHA. He was also due for a promotion to Chief Commissioner in the same year. But because of the pending inquiry for each year the DPC was held, his name was kept in a sealed cover. The inquiry continued and Gupta retired in 2008 without the overdue promotion due since 2003. The Delhi High Court has finally allowed Gupta's writ petition and has directed the board to open the sealed cover and pass appropriate orders. Can a bureaucrat get that retrospective promotion 8 years after his retirement?
The Enforcement Directorate has arrested an IAS officer, Pradeep Sharma, for alleged money laundering and not being cooperative in the investigation. Sharma, already suspended, is being accused of causing loss to the government by allotting land at 25% of the market rate while he was a district collector in Kutch, Gujarat.
A seriously stressed administrative service officer from Karnataka allegedly tried to hang herself at her official residence in Hassan near Bangalore. Vijaya E., a 35-year-old assistant commissioner from the 2012 KAS batch, was transferred to Hassan last year. In June, she was named Administrative Officer, Hassan Institute of Medical Sciences. She challenged her transfer in the Administrative Tribunal and managed to get a stay on the transfer. But she could not resume charge as another officer had already taken over. She has been accused of accepting bribes, so the DC advised her to await the clearance from corruption charges to resume the position. Out of frustration, she attempted suicide but was rescued by a neighbor. she is safe.
And on this note, we conclude this bulletin of Raisina Uphill. Thank you for watching.
We look forward to your suggestions and feedback at editor@tiol.in. Goodbye until next fortnight.